Hello again. Welcome back to Adapt AI Group. My name is Charlesy. We have an exciting guest with us here today and a great topic. Actually, I'm really excited about this topic. So let me introduce Susan Krieger. She's the CEO and founder of Prospect HR Consulting. Really excited to have you here. I love talking to CEOs and founders. You have great perspectives and experience on these topics we're going to dive into. And today's topic specifically is going to be on the cost of getting it wrong, right? So, what are some of those HR mistakes that really hurt small teams out there? So, that's what we're going to dive into. But before we do that, Susan, I'd love if just to kind of give you the mic if you want to introduce yourself and your company.
Sure. Thanks, Charlie. Nice to be here. Happy to be sharing information about Prospect HR Consulting. I do want to say before I jump into explaining who I am, what I would like to do is talk about the cost of getting it wrong, but also talk about the value of getting it right, which goes hand in hand with the kind of work that we do. So, Prospect HR Consulting has actually been around for about 20 years. We reintroduced ourselves this past year, rebranded, renamed, but doing pretty much the same work that we had been doing for the past 19 years. It gave us an opportunity to refresh how we do our work, what we do, and what we want to do going forward. That might be a little different than what we've done in the past. So what do we do? Prospect HR is an outsourced HR consulting firm. We provide services to different groups of clients. Some of the clients require our work ongoing. They're smaller companies, maybe 5 up to could be about 100, 150 employees, and they don't have an HR function. So they come to us because they need someone to do HR for them. They have somebody maybe on the admin staff, or maybe the CFO or the COO who does HR, and they'll bring us in to do their HR when they realize, and we'll get into some of those things, what they realize it's not working so well for them. So we will work with them. We call them ongoing or fractional HR clients. We also have another bucket of clients where we do projects. Those clients can be much bigger. We've worked with bank organizations with thousands of employees where we might do a big job description project, something that's discrete, where we add extra hands to an organization that has an HR department, could be very robust, but they just need some additional expertise. We also do that with recruiting. We have a whole arm that does recruiting. So we'll do recruiting in that way. We also do recruiting for our what we call our fractional clients. So that's who we are. That's what we do.
Love it. And the phrase fractional, right? Just in general, the word fractional is becoming extremely popular right now because companies are seeing the value of outsourcing and not trying to be the subject matter experts in everything and instead leading on the companies that focus on just that subject, right? And who are the experts in it. So I think that's really going to resonate with a lot of people who listen to this because small business owners, HR is extremely important and there is a cost and a benefit of getting it right and wrong. And I think that that's really, really something that a lot of businesses need. So I'm glad that we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah,
So
very true.
diving
Thanks.
diving into my first question here, what's one of those HR mistakes that you see a lot of small businesses make over and over again, right? Like you hear they make this mistake and you're like, yep, I heard this one before, right? It's one of the common ones.
Unfortunately, there are a lot that happen commonly, but I will start with sort of a general idea that small businesses, something that we see as a challenge is a mindset. So we might go into work with, it might be a CEO, might be a founder, could be, as I said, COO, but we go into an organization that's small, people wear many hats, and they're used to doing everything. So what's sometimes hard for them is to let go and to say, I need an expert to do this work because you start your own company, you're running a small company, you're smart. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing about your business. And you think you can do whatever comes up. So that's sometimes a challenge to say to the owner or the CEO, founder, let us take care of these things for you because we are the experts. Another area where we see challenges is somebody might be given HR because they're really good at something else that they do. And so it's assumed, we'll just add this to your plate. Again, it's a resource issue. It's a small company. People wear many hats. So why not give it to someone who's smart, who knows what they're doing? They're not experts again. So those are challenges and things that we see often. And with the best of intentions, great people to work with, they don't get it right because that's not what they learned. That's not what they're an expert in. And so it makes sense to bring in us or somebody from the outside to help give you that advice. And even though we often hear also, we can look it up online. We can get an answer. Well, you can, but how that gets implemented, there are nuances to these things. Sometimes the internet doesn't get it right. So you want someone who knows how to navigate all of that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I say this all the time, HI plus AI, right? So you always, that human interaction, the human element piece to what you could find on either through AI or web search, right? You got to have that human element to come in and actually put thought behind it and make sure it makes sense what you're getting in
Oh,
implementing. So
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit later because that's something when I said earlier, we are looking at where we want to go in the future. How AI fits into the
Mm,
human part of human resources is something we're looking at carefully, how to use it well and efficiently. But then where does the human interaction come
hmm.
in the most effective way?
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping forward, so if you interact with a founder or a CEO of, a small, maybe medium-sized company, but they say that they're too small for compliance to really matter, right? They're not really at risk. What would you say to them? What are those risks?
First of all, I'd say not true. You're not too small to worry about compliance. So compliance varies. My own background, I practiced as an employment lawyer for many years before starting the predecessor company from Prospect HR. And so compliance was always foremost in my mind. But compliance applies to any size company. Certain things might or might not apply in a certain state. Things around different policies around time off might apply to some organizations that have 5 or more employees. In some states, it might apply to every company. Different kinds of training, anti-harassment training is required in some states. Some cities have different requirements. Sometimes it's just one employee and you need to do anti-harassment training. Sometimes it might be 10, but you need to know where those lines are. And I would not advise parsing that too closely. If there is a best practice to do a type of training to put certain things in place, it's a good idea to do that. Even though maybe this particular policy you don't need to comply, but something related to it, you do need to comply. So again, you need an expert to help you sort that out. Another area where that's coming up is because so many employees are remote now, you could have employees in 12 different states, have a staff of 12 employees, which is small, but there are requirements in 12 different states. So you need to know what the compliance is in different states. Things around wage and hour. There are some things that apply across the board, no matter what size you are, around minimum wage, around how much salary you need to pay somebody if you want them to be a salaried employee versus an hourly employee. So there's so many ways that compliance touches your organization, really no matter what size you are. And another thing that we like to do is look at with our clients, if they're growing, when are they going to hit a threshold? So they might have 8 employees now, but a year or so down the road, they're going to have 15 employees. So we want to make sure that they're ready for whatever is in place for those those cutoffs and those requirements. Another thing that I will mention, there can be huge penalties if you get some of the wage and hour questions wrong. If you don't pay someone overtime when they should be paid overtime, there are penalties. There's back pay. So there's lawyers' costs. There's a lot, excuse me, that goes into that you do need to pay attention to.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep. I can edit this part out. So the nice thing with this, there's a little mark clip button at the bottom, so I can click on that if there's anything I want to edit out.
Thanks.
Not a problem at all.
Okay. The other thing I want to mention is we often work with PEOs. I don't know if people listening are familiar with PEOs, or you're familiar with PEOs. So PEOs are professional employer organizations. They've actually been around for a long time, but they work well. You have to find good ones. They essentially become co-employers. So they employ your employees and you employ your employees. But the value is you get the economies of scale with the bigger, it looks like you're a bigger company.
Right.
So you get more opportunities for health benefits, get more choices. They also handle, if you're in various states, they know the regulations in those states. They're going to send your employees in the various states the information that's needed. So you can feel much more confident that they are compliant. Now, I will say we work with PEOs to do HR work. While some of them say they do HR, they do the basics, and they give you a technology, which is great. So it's a really nice interaction with getting technology that you might not have as a small organization, with the benefit of an expert person there knowing what should be there, how to use it, making sure that the PEO is doing what they say they're going to be doing. And we also help our clients select a good PEO for them.
I love that. I've actually never heard of that. It makes a ton of sense though. So that's really
it does. And now, because of the remote nature of the workplace with tax implications in every state, it can get crazy for a small employer.
It's a lot to manage, and then you end up just, especially for small business owners, right? We've been there where you're the one grinding and doing everything, but then you're not focusing on what you do best because you're trying to juggle everything. So it makes a lot of sense. So what is something that a small business could do today that you think would save them a headache? Like, let's say, I mean, we're all thinking about 2026 budgets right now, right? So what should we be thinking about today as we wrap up and get ready for next year?
I think what will help you sleep better at night as a business owner is to have somebody take a look at what you have in place. You have HR in place, whether it's formal or not. You have employees, you're paying them, you have policies, you have practices, you have things that you do because you're required to do it. But you're not really sure, is that everything I need to do? What else could I be doing? So I would recommend that you have somebody with expertise in knowing what should be done. Take a look at what you do have in place. It doesn't take that long. Believe it or not, there aren't that many things that are required. There's a lot that are best practices for a lot of good reasons, but getting someone in a day, looking at what you have in place, where the gaps are, and then helping you prioritize what you should put in place. So I'll give you two examples of things we see a lot. One is where employees are misclassified. So people hire consultants, and yet they use them just like employees, sort of interchangeably. Can't do that under the regulatory scheme in any state. It's a federal law as well. So you need to make sure that you're paying your employees properly and your consultants properly. Again, could be big penalties there with things that you haven't done. If the labor department knows what's going on or finds out what's going on in any way. So these are the kinds of things that employers should feel comfortable and not worry about, and know that things are in place to help them um, really pay attention to their own business. And like I said, sleep a little bit more comfortably at night without that kind of worry. Now, there's never a guarantee that nobody's going to ever sue you. No one's going to ever go to the labor department. But when you've put things in place, when you've looked into it, you've mitigated any kind of damage that comes along, and you've really lessened your risk a lot, and you've made your employees happier because things work better. It shows that you care about them. It makes it easier for them to do their job and do what you need them to do. So that would
Yeah.
be one of my recommendations, to know what's there and know what's missing.
I like what you said that you have HR in place whether you know it or not. And sorry, my lights were flickering. I think we're having some power issues here. So, can you still hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. I know we're having bad weather this week. I don't know about you guys, but I think a lot of our
We're okay here. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
got a lot of power outages this week. But anyway, no, I think that that's a really great point because I mean it goes with operational procedures too, right? If you don't standardize and put SOPs in place, then you're just gonna act, right? There's gonna be process in place. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good process or good structure in place unless you take a step back and you actually, take the high level view and see what's going on and
Right.
standardize that, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
often
yeah,
say HR, people don't think about HR if it's working well, and that's what you want. You don't want them to be thinking too much about
yeah,
all of the issues around HR. If it's not working well, it creates a lot of problems within an organization on a lot of
yeah,
different levels.
absolutely. Well, I know we're coming to time here soon. I did want to end on the topic of AI. We touched on it at the beginning and how you think it might change the landscape in the future. Was there anything else you wanted to elaborate on related to AI before we wrap it up?
So what we're just just like most of us, we're trying to figure out where it fits into our business. We are human resources, so where does AI fit in? And in reality, it's been there for a long time in different ways. The sophistication and the ubiquitousness of it now is is something nobody can ignore. So there are ways that we're looking at having AI help with process, having AI do things where it used to take us much longer to do what we call an HR audit or assessment. Now there are ways that we can get information fed into a template and then get it back to look at very quickly. So it doesn't take us as long. We're an hourly business. We bill hourly, so it's fewer hours for our clients. So we can spend more time thinking about how do you want to implement something rather than let's find what's wrong and correct it. We could spend time thinking more strategically about what should your business be doing? How do we want you to be set up as an organization rather than the detail of the compliance? So that's one way that we're looking at using AI. There are also things we're looking at, not sure where we're going to go with it, but we do a lot of recruiting. And there are a lot of options for how AI gets used in the recruiting process, including doing interviews, doing
Mhm.
initial interviews. And there's studies showing that people who have AI interviews have a better experience than a human interview. So we're looking at ways that these things
Yeah,
can support our process,
right.
but keep us there for the part that we really need to think about. And another area that we're building is actually around coaching, and there's AI in coaching as well.
Mhm.
But we are looking at how coaching person to person is a place where our clients can spend some time, money, give their employees something of a lot of value because we don't have to spend as much time on some of the other processes. So those are a few examples.
I love it. I mean, yeah, what you described, right, is enhancing what we can do instead of
Yeah.
replacing what we do so that we can faster, smarter, more strategically. Yep, exactly. So I'm excited for all the changes. I know that there's some that are scarier than others, but I think in general, it's a good path that we're on to really just enhance what we're capable of doing in a 8 hour day or a 10 hour day for some of us, but it ebbs and flows,
A
right?
lot of interesting challenges. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Susan, as we wrap up, anything else you'd like to say to promote your company? And then we can go ahead and end there.
Just say that the things that we've spoken about today, we can help organizations look at. We have clients that have been with us for as long as the company has been around, almost 20 years. Um, we can help as large or small as you need. We can help you set things up and then hopefully just maintain, just pull us in when you need us. So we're very flexible. Anybody who's interested in just having a conversation, we love to talk about what we do. We have a team that does support the work and has various skills. So happy to speak to anybody who wants to reach out to us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Susan. This has been really great to talk to you and to just hear your perspectives on this topic. And I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.